The Phoenix Suns have been dealing this offseason, and you have had questions about what they might be able to do next. We're going to answer your questions on the next Mailbag episode after this. What is up? What's happening? Welcome into the PHNX Suns show. My name is Gil. We got the freckled Mamba behind the Mac, and I got Eric to my left today getting his little 1-2 step in right now. You must be in a good mood today,
I love
Eric.
Mailbag shows. I love Mailbag shows.
The voice of the people gets to be heard.
That's what they call me. And
Oh, that's
all
what
sorts
you-
of other things.
Who is they?
Oh, I thought they call me the voice of the
I
people.
said, yeah, who is they that call you
The
that?
people.
It's the people.
The people call me the voice of the people.
People, you in the chat, let us know if he's actually the voice of the people.
I don't know if I want the chat to say anything about that.
There are people in the chat. Shout out to Andy. Shout out to Boom. Craig.
Shout out Craig.
You know, all you guys hanging out with us today. Some guy named Eric Ruby in the chat as well. Andy, everybody hanging out with us today as we field the questions. Lonnie in the chat as well. Fielding your questions that we have. And we have quite a few questions. Some fun ones, some deep ones, some pretty straightforward ones, and all the ones that we are excited to answer. And I guess we just get into it based on how it goes, because the first one is a fun one.
Yeah, and it's we don't have our Steven with us today.
Right, so we had to
had
stand
to
in.
bring in another
Next Steven up, I think the saying goes.
Yeah, he says, this is in our diehard Discord, Steven's amazing, says, let's go 2K mode, which I got my ass kicked in front of the entire company in
You didn't
2K
have to tell me
a
about
couple
that.
weeks ago. I think I've mentioned it a couple of
That's
times.
fine.
The voice of the people doesn't lie to the people, Gil. Says, you get to change one stat or characteristic of a player. Think Booker's pull-up three tendencies or three-point percentage overall. What are you raising for whom and why? Mine is adjusting Oso's shooting to give him a mid-range game. I feel like it raises his ceiling, continuing to unlock the best parts of the Suns' offense, and raises this team's ceiling greatly if he punishes teams for giving him space in that mid-range. What's going to have the biggest impact raising on a player's floor or ceiling, and make the best case for why it's the best option.
I'm going to go out of the box a little bit.
I'm going to make Devin Booker 6'10".
So I like the fact that he's like, and I wasn't going to think this way had Steven not said pull up three tendencies. I'm going to go with a guy who we have not seen play for the Suns yet. I'm going to go Luke Kennard's three-point tendency.
Oh,
Ramp it up. We want more than 3.8 attempts this year. Take 7 a game, Luke. I want to see what that looks like. Even if you go from 48% to 39 or 40%, taking 7 a game, that's what I want to see this year. And I know it's like a little bit of a cop-out, but actually when we project forward with what we want to see from this team next year, one of the questions we talk about, you lose 16 three-point attempts-ish with Grayson and Royce being gone now. So 4 doesn't make up for 16. It doesn't necessarily have to be 1-for-1 as far as that goes, but I would like to see Luke let it fly this year. JJ Redick was pleading with him to let it fly, and he still didn't let it fly. So can Jordan not plead with him to let it fly? Will he let it fly more than he did this past year? He's going to get quality looks playing next to the guys he's playing next to this upcoming season, but take advantage of it and be even more of a threat as a three-point shooter this year.
I think there's a couple of different ways you can go with this, obviously. I want Dillon Brooks to up his playmaking. I want his ability to pass to be better. You need a second outlet next to Devin Booker, and I think that Dillon Brooks being able to facilitate more, especially because teams are going to send him lots of doubles, especially when he's posting up an incredibly efficient post-up game. If he's able to play make and facilitate outside of that, that would be really big. You can give the same one to Jalen Green as well, or give Jalen Green a higher three-point percentage, because we know that he's going to just completely launch most nights. Love the Oso shout, though, the mid-range for Oso. I mean, again, any
Oso
type
with a
of
14, 15 footer.
Oso with literally any type of offensive bag other than dunking whatsoever.
And push shot. Don't forget the push shot.
But even the push shot sometimes is a little...
I trust that push shot. That's money.
Clip that. That made him smile. That made Ayrton smile. Oso with the mid-range shot is great. Like,
I'd like to do Mark Williams with his durability all the way up.
Ooh, yeah.
Give me Mark Williams at 35.
Mark Williams with a three-point shot?
I mean, he's already 100. He's already 100%.
He's already.
We're good.
Okay, then the three-point
Give me 35
tendencies.
35 minutes.
I mean, we talk about guys having suited up. Cole Pete.
Ramp up the 3-point
ratchet
percentage?
that up. I will talk about that at some point, but ratchet that up too.
When you were younger, did you just you did the my player, but did you ever go just create a player and
99
just
overall?
Turn the stats all the way up?
Yes.
What height would you put that player?
Like 6'9".
Okay. Sometimes I would just go up and do
really?
7'5".
So you make Wemby?
Yeah, just 7'5", 7'6". Give me Kaman Malawach with maxed out I don't know, strength, or any type of big with a 3-pointer would be ideal.
This is kind of wild, but if it's just shooting touch with Oso, if he went from being a 48% free throw shooter to a 71% free throw shooter,
sure,
that would change a lot. Quiet as it's kept, just getting to the line as a big man, and you have to play him differently too, because you couldn't just hack him and not in possessions that way. Wouldn't be the first thing I went to, but it's something I would consider. It's funny. It's a bunch of one skill away guys on this roster.
For sure.
My takeaway from this.
I mean, in Miles Bridges, you up that 3-point percentage, that changes a lot. I mean, 3-point percentage is kind of the cop-out answer for everybody. I'd love Devin Booker to shoot a better percentage from 3. That would also completely change. But the pull-up 3 tendencies with Booker, he's willing to take 3s at times. He just also goes cold. Maybe the shot tendency for Book to put his foot on the scale a little bit more, but my main one would be I want a little bit more playmaking out of one of the 2 other lead guys in Jalen Green or in Dillon Brooks, because I just think that offense in general is going to move so much more smoothly if when Devin Booker gets off the ball, it's likely going to go to Dillon Brooks, Jalen Green, or Miles Bridges. If those guys can take the ball, make a quick decision, and play make for themselves or play make for others, that's going to add a lot of new layers and dynamics into the Suns offense. And when you factor in that they now have more rim threats in Miles Bridges, they're a little bit bigger, right? They have another post-up threat in Bridges. If they get the ball movement side of things down, that could really be a pick-your-poison type of offense.
I see what you're doing here, by the way, because this is answering some of the questions that we're getting later. So it's previewing that.
I'm not even trying to.
It's just natural as that goes.
Voice of the people is
even
speaking.
Juju saying still no point guard. That's kind of part of it, right? If you have playmaking by committee, that could be where the league is starting to trend towards. And I'm not going to get into some of the answers that we'll have for later, but that is important, the improvement of playmaking across the board, and that could help for anybody. I mean, Oso was probably the guy who's maxed out for his archetype. When you think about when you're making a my player and it's you've created a 6'11" power forward, this is as good as their playmaking can be. He can improve in the margins, but that's really important to talk about when we talk about just what this team could have and where guys can improve. And then Luke, you talk about quick decisions. That's one of the things we mentioned with him. He either shoot quick or make a quick extra pass or make a quick drive and kick. So the quickness of decisions is one of the things that one of the most frustrating parts of this team's offense last year was the offense stagnating. So increasing playmaking and quick decisions with these guys, or just a tendency to let it fly, I think will be big as far as this team goes.
I just want to keep on going down players. Ryan Dunn, 3-point percentage. Come on, Malawach, 3-point percentage.
Just max it out for everybody.
Fleming, 3-point percentage.
I can't stop thinking about Jamari Bouye with increased athleticism, just more dunking.
I mean, that's Russell Westbrook. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Russell Eastbrook.
Russell West Valley Brook. There you go.
That kind of rips. I kind of like that.
There you go. That's what I'm
literally
here for.
Give anybody on this team a more consistent 3-point shot or better playmaking, and I'm going to feel really, really good about that.
And you know what? Those guys have been in the gym this off season and they're putting in work. So I wouldn't be surprised if somebody makes a big time improvement. Now, talking about the off season and improvements and things happening around this franchise, we have a question from AZ Sports Fan 97 over on Discord, and the question is there any transparency to the length and any amount of Josh Bartlestein's extension? Not our business, the amount, I suppose, but that may impact Ishbia's willingness to cut him loose in the future. I thought the Brian Gregory and Jordan Knott hires were the best work he has done in his tenure, and both deserve recognition and praise. How is his role and responsibilities divided, and what has his influence been on the trades made in his tenure? It seems he may be driving the trade future picks for win now players to fix some trade blunders. Do we think that falls more on Brian Gregory or Josh?
I'm going to keep it so real with you, AZ Sports Fan 97. We don't really know what he does. And I don't say that as a bad thing. I don't know what most CEOs do for basketball teams, but for the Suns and for the Mercury, there have been some different types of moves in tenures. Obviously, the Mercury were in the finals last season. We don't need to talk about this season.
Yep.
And then there's obviously going to be the ties between Bartlestein and the Bradley Beal trade simply because Bradley Beal had a no-trade clause. His agent is Mark Bartlestein. I don't know if you noticed, but then Mark Bartlestein and Josh Bartlestein, well, both of their last names are Bartlestein, and that's not a coincidence. They just so happen to be related. So I'd be surprised if he didn't have a voice in that. Matt did say that he would be involved in basketball operations, I think, last offseason. But Matt's also spoken very, very glowingly of him, not just via Shams Charania thread tweets, like the second tweet on the news where it was a quote from Matt, but also just in general, he's talked highly about Josh. So I don't really know how long the deal is or how much money he's making. I don't really think those things tend to get reported, but I think if he does a bad job that he'll be cut from his job, but I wouldn't say that he's done a bad job because we don't know what he has and has not actually been involved with.
For him to be a Michigan man amongst a bunch of Michigan State men, he's doing a good job because they definitely.
And he's young too.
He's a young guy, not that much older than I am. But it's funny, we call a guy that's 36 young. Interesting.
He's young. You're
interesting.
Not.
That's very interesting that you said that.
Spike says Bartlestein runs the business side. He's not the GM. So yes, that is primarily his focus. I do believe, and I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure Matt said that he would be involved in some of the basketball side of things as well.
When they talk about it, and we kind of laugh at it, and we mention it, we ring the bell when we say alignment. But when they talk about the decisions that are being made, it's always mentioned as a triumvirate. They're like, oh yeah, Josh, Matt, and I.
He's very much involved.
They're very much having these conversations together. I have no idea what it looks like. CEOs of professional organizations. I think organization to organization, it varies what a CEO's responsibilities entail. Some people probably have an eye for understanding some cap stuff that fits in. There's also some of the business side of the basketball things, arena operations, all these things that I don't really fully understand. But based on how things went, we mentioned last year, Mercury go to the finals. This past year, the Suns exceed expectations. Everybody in that front office, everybody that's considered an executive with this franchise is doing a decent or more than decent job because these teams are exceeding expectations. So, so long as they continue to do that and continue to move forward, I would expect that. And it's shown with him getting rewarded with a contract extension, which we have zero idea about the details of.
I mean, somebody was involved in the Bradley Beal trade, and I mean, again, the last season was good from the Suns. The season before this one for the Mercury was phenomenal, and there's absolute credit that needs to be deserved with that. James Jones was kind of the fall guy for what happened in the era prior for the Suns. Again, we don't know how involved Bartlestein is or anything like that, but it does, just render the question of when this new Suns tenure took over, was it just kind of like they win a little too fast, too quick, and now they've kind of gathered their bearings and everybody is settled into their role, and Brian Gregory and Jordan Ott. So I do think that it is getting better from a front office perspective. The free agent signings is something that seems like they have on lock. The trades are definitely where you look at this front office and you say there's room for improvement. And I'm not even just talking about the Miles Bridges trade, but you look back at the Bradley Beal trade, the Yusuf Nurkic trade, the original Kevin Durant trade, even what you got for Kevin Durant ended up being a good package, but obviously isn't maybe the highest peak of value. So you look at maybe the trades his front office was made. You don't know who's making the trades. You would assume that Brian Gregory has his, influence over everything. So we don't know what Bartlestein knows. We don't know how long he's going to be here. But I think once we got past that first couple of years where the entire Suns organization kind of seemed like they were gathering their own bearings, but acting like they knew what they were doing, which got them in a lot of trouble and then ended up now with $20 million of dead money on their books. I do think that they're a well-run organization now. Yeah. And this year, and EJ Liddell.
Still on the books as well. We always talk about Bradley Beal, but those guys
are like $2 to $3 million.
Yeah, but still, I'd take it.
The Beal decision is the only one where it's like, you feel like you've moved on from the KD trade, obviously. You feel like you've kind of moved past the Yusuf Nurkic trade and all these other moves, these bad free agent signings that you made on the veteran minimum and everything. But the Beal trade is something that you have $20 million on the books for the entirety of Devin Booker's prime. So the front office has to be held accountable for that, even if it's not like a death sentence. It is definitely an hindrance, but I don't think that also stops a guy like Josh Bartlestein, who's not the GM, and obviously, I don't think was the one who was like, we are going to trade for Bradley Beal, even if he might have been, I would say, somewhat influential. You could just assume. So I think the front office is in good shape. I feel good about where this franchise is heading. They certainly have some obstacles and roadblocks ahead of them, and some of them of their own doing, but congratulations to Josh Bartlestein for
but
being a young guy that gets extended in his job.
Man, we're gonna have to talk about this. And speaking of trades, our final question for
You don't
this
think he's
segment.
young?
He's very young.
Life
Very
just
young.
started for Josh Bartlestein.
Yeah, it's as it is for all of us.
Almost.
I'm going to move on to the next question, which is from John. Which, speaking of trades, John asks, "Did the Bridges deal go through yet?" And the answer is
no.
No,
No, it is not.
it has not gone through yet. The rule of thumb always with these deals is it's not official until the team announces it on social media. That'll be accompanied by an official release. There are a lot of moving parts here. We don't exactly know what it is, but if you remember, the Charlotte Hornets have been involved in a lot of deals this offseason, including the LaMelo Ball trade to Minnesota. And I think that it was like a player involved in it from the Hawks or
Moge. Yeah.
Moge.
think.
But not Mohammed.
No,
Mohammed.
the other one.
Yeah, there's two.
Yeah. There's Mo and then there's Mohammed.
Yeah, so one of those two guys cannot be traded until July 9th. So that's the earliest that the deal could become official. But that doesn't mean it's going to become official on the 9th. But salaries have to get absorbed. Things have to move around. There's an order of operations, kind of like what we learned with PEMDAS. Same thing with trades.
Yes, of course.
Yes, exactly. So
this was the second week of PEMDAS, was NBA free agent trade and everything like that.
Yes, exactly. So like once those salaries move and the Hornets get their first things and first business affairs in order, then I think that allows them to do the salary part of it, and also gives more time for more teams to get involved, more things to get absorbed salary-wise as well. So we will be not the first to let you know, but after the Suns let the world know, we will let you know as soon as
the first to let you know once we know.
Exactly.
And maybe it happens. Summer League obviously coming up. You look at last year, they introduced Dillon Brooks and Jalen Green at Summer League. That KD trade became obviously official after the draft and a little bit before Summer League. So it took a little bit of time. There was seven teams involved with that, which I think was an NBA record. I don't know if this trade folds in more teams or not, but Summer League usually feels like around the time that these things do get finalized. But if July 9th is the first day that it can be official, then maybe there's some more stuff that's going to be holding up. So it could be maybe right after Summer League, but I'd have your eyes peeled just during Summer League just to see if the news does come down based off of how these type of things have happened before. And obviously we will let you know, and we'll talk about it even more, and we'll maybe even have a film breakdown from somebody who is not currently on the show, but of course is a huge member of the show as soon as that deal goes official.
Exactly. We got way more about that deal and the Suns off-season deals and more answers to your questions, and we'll have that after our first break.
We've all been enjoying the World Cup, even if our U.S. men's national team did lose. But don't worry, there's still plenty of great soccer, and you can enjoy the World Cup with Casamigos ready-to-go margarita. You never lose. When you're bringing your friends, fans, and frenemies together, one Casamigos ready to enjoy margarita at a time. Pair it with some delicious World Cup watch party food, and of course, it's made with the best simple ingredients. I'm talking Blanco tequila, that's great, lime juice, also great, and natural flavors. Hey, also great. They're sure to rival any of your favorite hangout spots. All you gotta do is uncork, pour it over ice, garnish with a lime, and boom, you're enjoying a delicious drink that's just 110 calories per serving, and it's made with real juice. Plus, they have two flavors, classic lime and spicy. One for me, one for you. Are you spicy or classic lime?
I'm classic.
Yeah, you're not a very adventurous guy with the spice. Yeah, I'll go spicy for me here. Casamigos is the drink of the World Cup. Whether at your favorite spot or you're stocking up at home, make it Casamigos.
If you're looking for the best place to watch the World Cup and maybe put some bets down, have some drinks, and make a day out of it, go to Gila River Resorts Casino. Some say you can't spell Gila without G-I-L, and it is Arizona's #1 casino destination, and they know how to do sports right. We would know. We have our watch parties there at Wild
And
Horse
we're
Pass.
going to be there next Thursday for one of our live shows.
Exactly. So there's nowhere better than Gila. They have BetMGM sportsbooks, which are built for fans. Wall-to-wall TVs, massive screens, incredible viewing setups, and flexible ways to bet and get in on the action while the action is happening live. So if you're sweating out same-game parlay, cheering on your squad or whoever it is you have in your World Cup drawing, or just hanging out with your friends with the best game day atmosphere in Arizona, Gila River Resorts Casinos is the place to be. Grab your crew, celebrate the big wins, and enjoy everything that Gila River Resorts and Casinos has to offer. All the ways to do you do you at Gila River Resorts Casinos. Visit playathila.com for more details. Back here at the PHNX Suns Show, answering your questions, and we've got you, a lot of you, all here hanging out with us today. Over 115 of you hanging out with us already here. We're just getting started, and if you have not already, we'd appreciate it if you liked,
Yes.
the show. If you subscribe to the channel,
Yes.
if you have not already, and if you just continue to interact with us and have a good time here as we roll through these
Share it with
questions.
a friend.
Do that too.
And if you're listening on audio, a 5-star review goes a really long way.
Do that as well.
Yeah, we are trying to bring you the best Suns coverage possible, and the more 5-star reviews that go into wherever you get your podcast, the more it pushes us towards other people, bringing more people into the fold, so more people can talk about Steven drinking a quadruple whiskey neat, Gil being old, and of course me, humbly being the voice of the people.
Yeah, he'll have that quadruple whiskey neat at Gila next week, by
Yes,
the way,
he
which
will.
we're going to be hanging out with you guys. Phoenix PHNX Suns live over at Gila next week, next Thursday, a week from tomorrow, 6 p.m. And as you said, it's a free event, and you can you're RSVP for it. And if you're a diehard, you get a free drink ticket to hang out with us. So you get to hang out with us for free. If you're a diehard, you get to drink one drink for free as well. So we'll be there hanging out, have a good time. Show will start around 6 p.m. So looking forward to that. But as we continue, we're looking forward to answering your next questions, and let's get into it.
Yeah, this one's got people angry. Again,
Let's get into it.
a question that was asked to us,
Yes,
not that
it
we
was not
came
an
up
idea.
with.
From Doug.
Hi, Doug.
Hi, Doug. We appreciate the question because a lot of people have been asking this in the comments, in the chat, and we finally get to address it head on. What do you think of a Jalen Green for Dejounte Murray trade?
I don't like it. I mean, everybody in here jumps in here and goes, this is so disrespectful to Jalen Green. This is that. I'm disagreeing with the idea of trading him, right? This is, again, you look at Dejounte, and I think Dejounte and Book actually do fit well together. In theory, actually do fit better together than Jalen Green and Dejounte Murray. Here's the myth about Dejounte Murray I'd like to dispel. He's a good defender. He is not still the level of defender that he was when he was in San Antonio.
8 years ago, he was all defense.
8 years ago. How many all defenses since then?
That's the only one of his career.
Exactly. This is a guy in Dejounte Murray who has a lot of potential on the defensive end, but since he has started to carry more of an offensive load, he has completely dropped off the defensive side. Not that he's bad, but he's nowhere near all defensive caliber anymore. Now, the playmaking side of things, the positional fit, maybe that does fit better next to Devin Booker, but Dejounte is also 5 years older than Jalen Green, and is coming off of an Achilles tear.
Yes.
Now, look,
He played well last year.
He did play well last year for the Pelicans, but he is somebody that I personally would not want to give up on Jalen Green right now for Dejounte Murray, just because I don't know how much better of a player Dejounte is right now than Jalen Green. Then you add in the injuries, then you add in that he's 5 years older than Jalen Green, and Jalen's already in building for you. I get why fans are continuing to obsess over a point guard, but Gil, Dejounte's also not a true point guard.
Right. He's closer to being a true point guard, and we've seen him have different iterations of that role throughout his career. We saw the Hawks try to make it work with him and Trey, thinking that you're going to put all these defensive-minded guys next to Trey Young and have the situation, and it didn't work, and they moved off of that pretty quickly. New Orleans got the good from him, but also then it kind of fell apart. And I'm looking at his salary. He's set to make $32.8 million this upcoming season, and then 1 year left after that, $30.8 million. So it goes back down after this. And quite frankly, I would have been very comfortable if they did the Royce Grayson, the Miles Bridges package, and then some filler. That would have felt good.
Sure.
But it would have made some
it would have
made
backcourt
for some
crunch, yeah.
overlap as far as that goes, but I would have thought about that. But I agree with you. I don't think that it's worth giving up on Jalen Green as far as this goes. There's been some comments in the chat. There's been a lot of talk about the disrespect of Jalen Green. I think that either people are entirely too high on Jalen Green or entirely too low on Jalen Green. And last year is such a hard year to judge because of how unavailable he was. It wasn't his fault. It was the least durable year of his basketball career, not just his NBA career, because coming up, playing with G League Ignite, playing with the Rockets, he was available. And then it just felt like it was lightning striking multiple times with the hamstring, with the other things that were bothering him. He took a hard fall. That was something you can't really prevent. It was just something that kept him out of the lineup. I think you wait to see what you have with Jalen Green. Give it a real 30, 40, 50 games. We'll have a much better idea of how this is, and this kind of overlaps with some of the other questions we'll answer in this segment, which is kind of the Jalen Green segment. But similar to what I was talking about, and we kind of looked at the Royce O'Neal, Grayson Allen as a trade asset chip that you could use to get something else, and they've cashed that in. I think that depending on where Jalen goes and how he plays this upcoming season, that could be someone, he could be someone who increases their value, and there might be a better fit out there. There might be the deal that the Suns front office is holding out for that becomes available. I just don't think this is the one.
And Dejounte, not a true point guard, but is a much better facilitator than Jalen Green. Again, I don't do this trade, but I don't blame people who would do this trade. Like you said, a lot of people are too low on Jalen Green. Jalen certainly has a lot of faults in his own right, even if he is fully healthy.
They haven't watched that 5-minute ASMR video.
There are certainly questions as to what Green can do for winning basketball on the highest stage, specifically the playoffs. Now, the play-in, he was great until he had a couple turnovers at the end of that Portland game that kind of helped seal it, but he was hooping in the play-in. Was really the only reason the Suns, not the only reason, but one of the main reasons why the Suns actually made it to the playoffs. Once you got to the playoffs, it was a little bit different. I understand that some people don't love the fit between Booker and Green. I'm going to say the jury is still out. I don't think those are the best archetypes to go next to each other, but Dejounte Murray, I think at this point in his career, is going to want to be on the ball a lot more. I don't think he has that same scoring punch that Jalen Green has, but maybe the Suns' downside isn't their scoring, it's their playmaking. Dejounte averaged 6.4 assists per game last year in 14 games for New Orleans. Obviously, you say small sample size. The year before that, in 31 games, he had 7.4 assists, which, again, small sample size, but you go back to Atlanta, he averaged over 6 per game in those 2 years where he was playing 78 and 74 games. So he is a very good facilitator and playmaker. Do you know he averaged 9.2 assists per game in 21-22? That
was a really good year for him.
Yeah, he was really, really good that year. Over 20 a game, 9 assists.
I think he led the league in steals that year as well.
Spurs weren't good that year, though. Again, I think Dejounte would be good. And if you're making like a 2K trade, going back to 2K, or just putting pieces around Devin Booker, you could talk yourself into Dejounte 6'4", plays a little bit taller than that. It can be a really good defender when he's not carrying a heavy offensive load. Maybe next to Booker, he could take a step back offensively, focus a little bit more defensively, a little bit more playmaking. Yeah, that might be a better fit than Jalen Green right now. Would that be a better fit next to Devin Booker 2-3 years from now? That's also a different question. And is that the proper value that you want to get for a guy like Jalen Green, who was a big part of the Kevin Durant package? It's not that I don't like Dejounte Murray, because I do. But I think that you hold on to Jalen Green in this specific scenario, especially because you're not going to get back any other types of picks or anything in this. It'd probably just be a 1-for-1. I just don't think that that's the button that you press right now.
You mentioned it just a second ago, and Tim asked the same question. What is Jalen Green's actual trade value? And that is where we are right now. This is probably the lowest that it has ever been.
Yeah.
He was unavailable last year, and availability is the best ability when you talk about this, and he took some steps back because of that. There was also questions around him given the performance and the shortcomings that he had against Golden State in the playoffs when he was a member of the Rockets, and he answered some of those questions in the play-in tournament, but then you go against the Oklahoma City Thunder defense, and it's really hard for a guard to go against that team. I don't know.
It's low.
It's low.
It's low.
And I think that's where this team is right now, because you wait it out. Either he plays himself into having more value and you have the decision and the leverage of, okay, do we find a better piece, or we've got our future piece, or he plays it lower, and knowing that he has that player option, you can get, as we know, this team gets value deals done with guys and given an opportunity. Well, hey, you're 25 years old. This wasn't a good year again, but we will give you a deal that works for both sides, but is a little more team friendly, and you can prove it, earn it, and play out of the value of that contract.
His trade value is lower than what his actual value is. Even if you're low on Jalen Green, you have to admit that his trade value is at the lowest that it's ever been, and partially not his fault because of the injuries, and partially when he did play, like, he didn't look great at times. Now, when it was clicking next to Devin Booker, people forget that, like, 2-week-long stretch where both him and Booker
the East Coast road trip.
East Coast road trip, you're playing Toronto, you're playing Indiana. Like, these guys are trading buckets, hitting 7+ threes each. Jalen's crossing over guys and pointing at them. Like, it was really high-level hoops between the two of them.
That was no Brooks, right? That was
there was no Dillon Brooks. His hand was broken. So we do get to see a glimpse into that pairing working, but overall, Jalen had a pretty disappointing season statistically. Now, if you follow the team like a lot of people here and you watch the team like obviously we all do, you understand the context as to why Jalen Green struggled. His first time dealing with major injury, was in and out of the lineup for the entire season, and then when he comes back, Dillon Brooks is out, then Devin Booker is out, Mark Williams is out, and he never gets to play with a full complement of guys. So you could say that right now, Jalen Green's trade value is at its lowest. Maybe the only positive is, he doesn't have another year on his contract, so he is an expiring contract, and a team trying to get off of future money on their books might trade for Jalen Green, give you a longer-term asset, somebody that's locked up for a couple years that they don't want, and that's the trade they want to make. But that's not the business the Suns need to be in right now. They need to be in the getting better business. And I would say whether you think Jalen and Booker are a perfect fit or not, Jalen, I think, will play better next season than he did last season, and that's going to help the Suns. And then, Gil, once you get to the trade deadline and next offseason, assess everything and see how that fit works when they're actually both healthy and they both play.
Spike, you are right, because it was 79 points between two players. And boom, you have a point as well. It did get to a little your turn, my turn, but what we saw—
But it was working.
We saw with those guys, and it was like, okay, Jalen, it felt like a pitching staff. Jalen was the one that was having really big first quarters, and then Book would kind of take the mantle from him late first and through that second and third, and then they kind of figured out who's going to close it a little bit based on who the hot hand was. We just didn't see it that much, and it is important to point out that Dillon Brooks wasn't there, not because they couldn't coexist with Dillon Brooks, but it was way easier to navigate and figure that stuff out, and then when he was getting reincorporated to everything, that made it difficult. Ayrton, do you have what was your assessment of that?
What do you guys think Dejounte Murray's trade value is? Because a lot of people are saying, let's trade Jalen Green for Dejounte Murray, but they're also saying similar things with LaMelo Ball. So are they similar values? Are those three on the same?
He's got to be lower than LaMelo.
Way lower.
Because I'm trying to understand when people are saying, let's trade Jalen Green for Dejounte Murray, let's trade Jalen Green for LaMelo Ball, let's trade Jalen Green for blah, blah, blah. It's like, is he just in these conversations because he's the only one that can be traded? The value just seems kind of off when people are having these conversations.
The contract, the age, the overlap with Booker, it does, for a lot of people, seem like Jalen is the expendable option. It felt that way as soon as he got traded here. He was getting put into trade machines, and what else could they do? And I mean, like we had to talk about it too, because that's when you talk about the Suns every single day. Like there are certain things that you just have to talk about. And we hadn't talked about the Dejounte Jalen thing, but somebody asked it for the mailbag. But this has been floating around.
A lot of people have talked about it.
Somebody in the chat here, the Boar, says Booker and Jalen are a terrible fit. Let's just piss away another year so Green can have the same value. Great logic, and said if you can get a stud like Dejounte, you do it. Green isn't going to improve the way y'all want him to. I just, the people who think that Jalen Green isn't going to improve, well, it's not guaranteed. I personally disagree with that. And if we're talking about trade value, Jalen coming off of an injury-riddled season, Dejounte's played 45 games the last 2 years combined, right? And when he did play, he played for a crappy Pelicans team. And the fit in Atlanta was not great to the point where his statistics were fine, but they moved him to the Pelicans for what, CJ McCollum? No.
It was Dyson Daniels.
Dyson Daniels and CJ McCollum, right?
I think CJ went to Atlanta from Washington. It was Dyson Daniels, and I was just looking at the deal just now. I'll pull it up as you continue to figure.
But it's to me, Dejounte doesn't have the highest value right now.
Dyson Daniels, and here we are, second E.J. Liddell mention.
Oh my God,
Dyson Daniels, E.J. Liddell, Larry Nance Jr., Cody Zeller, and a pick.
I mean, it's a terrible package. So. And that's the thing. Jersey Joe says, can we talk about Jalen Green being 24 years old and acting like he can't get better? Like, let's just play it out a full season before we trade for a guy who can't shoot and is hurt in Murray. Yeah, Murray's three-point shooting isn't fantastic. 30% from three last year, 29.9 the year before that. Now it was 36%, 34% in his 2 years in Atlanta. Those were really good marks for his career, but 32 and 31% the years before that. He's a fine player, and you'd be buying low on Dejounte, and if you just think Dejounte is going to be a way better player than Jalen Green, then you would want the Suns front office to make that move, Gil. But at this point in your career, like 5 years of difference, when you also have a young core that you're trying to build around alongside Devin Booker, I'm not saying hold on to Jalen Green forever. I'm just saying
not for Dejounte Murray.
Yeah, like honestly, like you could almost maybe talk me more into Zion than than Dejounte for Jalen.
Right, and even Zion's had his health issues in the past. And my final thought on this is that if Dejounte Murray didn't have the injuries that he's dealt with, I would have this conversation. I would understand it. I think that with his injuries, I do think that if the Pelicans were interested, that package that ended up being traded for Miles Bridges would have probably felt like fair value for Dejounte Murray because of where the Pelicans are. Their roster is a mess. They haven't made any moves this offseason. That's kind of where they are. There's a lot of mention of point guard. I've seen the name Drew Holiday. If Drew Holiday was Dejounte Murray's age, I would say do this in a heartbeat. He's 36 years old. I know he's still got a lot of years ahead of him, but he doesn't really fit the timeline. Everybody on this team, 36, same age as Josh Bartlestein.
I mean, that is kind of crazy to think about.
but like these guys are like, I just think that the oldest guy on the roster now is 30, 31 years old. There's a clear.
It's Dillon, right?
Dillon will be 31 this year, and then
Book's gonna be
and then Luke Kennard is also 30. So like that's kind of the elder statesman in the locker room. I think if Drew Holiday was 32, it would make more sense. But with him 36 years old, and he still has a lot of good basketball ahead of him, it doesn't really make sense. But that's who I would make that move for. But ultimately, I think that the point guard thing, which is the next question we'll get to before the break, we can answer really quickly. Javon Cheeks asks, who will be the point guard in the starting five? Shout out to Javon Cheeks. Who will be the point guard in the starting five, Booker or Green? The answer is
it's Devin Booker.
Devin Booker.
It was never, no matter what people would say, it was never going to be Jalen Green. Devin Booker is the point guard.
And the point that I'll make about that, no pun intended, if Devin Booker did not want to have these responsibilities as a lead guard, as the lead facilitator, as the lead distributor, he's the face of the franchise. He would not be doing it. There's some semblance, some idea that he has said and stepped forward and said, I want to do this, I'll do it. And that's the reason why they're trying to build a certain way. Now, if it doesn't work, if it's a disaster this upcoming year when we see what it actually looks like with a good bill of health, then maybe some changes are made. But to bring it back to the beginning of the conversation, we really haven't seen it from day one with no interruptions.
No, and Jeff said in the chat, says, honestly, we should wait until midseason before deciding whether or not to move Green. Murray would be a good fit at point guard, but we already made a lot of moves, no rush. It'd be hard to find a guard that's not a good fit next to Devin Booker. Point blank, period. So I agree. I want to see this play out, and then we can reevaluate at the deadline.
Absolutely. Now, I know in the chat, Aiden asked if we had gotten any of his questions yet. We haven't yet, but we're going to get to your questions, Aiden. Don't you worry, but we're doing it after our next break. Listen, if you know anybody, if I know anybody that's about to go on the road or hit the road anytime soon.
Maybe like a 4.5, 5 hour drive?
Something like that. You're going to need to fill up and get your gas tank full. And the place to do that is Circle K.
It's got to be so expensive though, right?
Not when there's a fuel day coming up.
Coming up?
40,
Tomorrow maybe?
40 cents off.
40 cents off?
That is what you do. And you do it as an Inner Circle member. And it's free to join. And I'm an Inner Circle member. You're an Inner Circle member.
Yeah.
We're in the Inner Circle.
And it didn't take a blood sacrifice?
Nothing.
I didn't have to give them my face scan or my fingerprint.
Pretty simple. They just want your phone number and your email address.
That's
and you can just keep it rolling and save money right away. And it's not just gas, too.
What?
You can also, if you're on the road trip, you want to have snacks.
Of course.
You want to have something to drink. How about a 79-cent Polar Pop, 44-ounce drink? That can get you all 4.5, 5 hours that you're on the road, and 99-cent frost if you want to keep it frozen as well. So join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions do apply at participating locations. And if you want to learn more, visit CircleK.com for more details.
One AZ Credit Union is rooted in Arizona and invested in you and all of us because their mission is to help Arizonans live their best financial lives. Gil, you're officially an Arizonan now. Whether that means buying a new car, starting a new business, or just planning for what's next, 1AZ is a part of the community, and they're proud to be celebrating 75 years of dedicated service to Arizona. I'm not even going to make the joke. With 25 branches here in Arizona and an online banking app, you can access your money easier. 1AZ branches are your one-stop shop for all your financial needs. Whether that means one-on-one financial coaching, which can be super helpful, or a document notarized, their friendly associates are ready to help you at branches all across the state. And for a limited time, open a new checking account, complete qualifying activities, and you're going to earn a $350 new member bonus. All you have to do is use code CHK-358. That's code CHK-358. Terms and conditions, well, they do apply. Visit 1azcu.com for all the details.
Welcome back here, PHNX Suns Mailbag edition, answering your questions, and we have gotten some good ones. The next two, we'll kind of
combine them.
Combine together.
Combination.
Combination. We'll work. That was bad.
That was pretty bad.
Combination.
My bad. King Ghidorah says, if you could choose for either Rasheer or Kaman to make a big leap this offseason, who would you pick? Doesn't mean that the other won't eventually, but which one of the two would be a greater value to this team this season if they made a big improvement? Followed up by Aiden, who asked, out of our young core of Ryan, Oso, Rasheer, Kaman, Koa, who are you each most excited to see this upcoming season? Who do you think is going to make the biggest jump in impact? So, who would you rather see out of Rasheer and Kaman to make a big leap this season?
This season, Rasheer. I think he's closer to it.
Okay, but so my counter.
Because he's closer to it.
Because he's closer to it. Wouldn't you rather see it from Kaman?
That's a fair point.
Because Kaman's ceiling is just higher.
Yes, it is. It is. And a big leap from him would be exponential. And I've talked about that. And I'm firmly believing, I saw somebody in the chat earlier mention Hasheem Thabeet. He's 19, man. Like, Hasheem Thabeet is
somebody was calling Hasheem Thabeet?
Somebody said, I hate that we took Hasheem Thabeet with the 10th pick.
I hate that you typed out Hasheem Thabeet's name in here on Wednesday, July 8th, 2026.
I mean, come on, man. Like, listen.
First of all, 10th pick, so different than Hasheem.
Yeah, but he was the second pick, and then he went ahead of like Harden and Steph Curry and all those guys. It's different. It's a little different, and he's only been playing basketball for several years. Like, so much different with that, and we've seen it with Man, and I trust the situation that he finds himself in. So to that point, yes. But I was thinking about Rasheer as far as if he makes the leap that we think that he can make, he becomes that jack of all trades that we saw an OG Anunoby be for the Knicks this past playoffs, and they don't win without him, obviously, and the tipping and all that stuff, and his ability to defend. And I think back to, who you have to beat in the Western Conference. You have to. I said to beat. Who do you have to defeat in the Western Conference? And that's the Spurs and Wemby. That's the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I just think about, yes, Man would be so valuable. I think he has the potential to be a top 10 defender, a defensive anchor in the NBA. But thinking about Rasheer having a chance to be a top 10 3-and-D guy in the NBA, that would be very valuable with what this team has, because you already have Mark in place to be that stopgap, to give you some patience for Man's leap.
My answer to Aiden's question, who am I most excited about, is Rasheer. And I also think he'll have the biggest impact minus Oso, because Oso is going to be staunch in the rotation, but Rasheer's ceiling is just higher. I would still take Kaman, though, simply because you talk about who you're going to face in the West. Yeah, let's talk about who you have to face in the West. The Oklahoma City Thunder, who have 3 7-footers. The San Antonio Spurs, who have Victor Wembanyama. The Denver Nuggets, who have Nikola Jokic.
But no longer Jonas Valanciunas.
No longer Valanciunas, so that changes everything, right? Walker Kessler and the Lakers.
That sounded weird.
But you go down the list here of good teams. Houston is a huge team that you matched up with terribly. Now Rasheer's going to help with all that as well. But Kaman being like 7'9" with an 18-foot wingspan, that's how I built my players in 2K.
Rasheer is just 20 feet. So what are we talking about?
That's how I built players in 2K, right? I just build them up 7'8" with a 9-foot wingspan.
Fair.
But with Kaman, your center rotation is still kind of up in flux. Oso's a great rotation player. Mark's getting paid very low salary for a starter. There's obviously injury questions. But if Kaman hits, he can play with those guys, because I'm assuming if we're talking a leap from Kaman, that means he can create his own offense. He can hit three-pointers. And if the Suns get a stretch big, which maybe that's what Rasheer is, playing a small ball 5, but imagine if it wasn't a small ball 5.
7'2".
Imagine if it was a big 5 who could also shoot. That helps Miles Bridges. That helps Dillon Brooks. That helps Devin Booker. That helps Jalen Green. That helps everybody. So Malawach is farther away. Therefore, an accelerated timeline for him seems more ideal.
Fair.
But Rasheer feels like this year, whether I pick him for the leap or not, he's going to make one. So I could, ¿por qué no los dos? Like, just give me both. I want to leap from both of them this year.
Ooh, man, that's why I'm so
That was better than combination.
That was better. It was better. It was
Sorry, I just get excited and loud. You know who I am.
I get it. I know you well enough now.
You know how I get.
You know me. This is all getting me really excited to watch these guys at Summer League. Which, by the way, I do feel bad. Poor Taylor Horton Tucker has become a meme.
Oh, because he just phoned up the Summer League.
Yeah, that's just like a meme. They use that for everybody. But regardless of that, I'm excited to watch these guys. But my answer to Aiden's question, not just because he sat right here about a month and a half ago, but I think Ryan Dunn is flying under the radar at this point with the fact this is good. Let him
sleep.
There's not as much of a microscope on the leap and improvement and development that he can make. I think there have been a lot of detractors to him, but we've seen the highs, and the fact that he can work silently without as much of a microscope on him, I think he can make a sneaky leap this upcoming year. And if he makes a sneaky leap, Because one thing that we talked to him about, and he said it, he said his rookie year was crazy. There was a lot going on. We saw it from
the look in his eyes. This
rookie year is crazy. So now some stability for him. In some ways, he was a rookie again last year. He's still a young guy. So now to have some stability, he's one of the names that people asked. We asked Mark yesterday, who has been in the gym as much as him this year, and Ryan Dunn was one of the names that he said. So these guys are putting work in. He talked to us about what the day of work looks like with him. So I'd be very excited to see him make a leap. And the exciting part about it is it's realistic for all of these guys to make a leap. And if they do, kind of back to what we were talking about at the beginning, adding an attribute, that answers and solves a lot of problems for this Suns team.
Yeah, if Ryan takes a leap specifically, I mean, again, the 3-point percentage is one thing, but if his perimeter defense continues to get better,
consistency.
I think it was good last year, but not best defensive prospect in the 25 draft good or 24 draft.
24.
The 24 draft good. So he's somebody that I really do believe him as a piece on this team, and he could be a supercharged role player. The rebounding has always been a great skill from him. I want to see him continue to be aggressive in getting down to the rim, letting the shot fly from three. But if his defense, specifically the point of attack defense, that's where the Suns will need some help the most. Like, think about, Rasheer is a good point of attack defender, but he's going to be better, protecting the rim, being a weak side help defender, using his long limbs to kind of jump passing lanes. Come on, obviously going to protect the paint. Koa's going to, not be as much of a perimeter defender. You've got Dillon Brooks, but even Dillon Brooks sometimes can be better guarding a post-up player. Like, you go kind of down the list. It's like, who's the best point of attack defender on this team? Well, it's Jordan Goodwin. Who else? Who's second to that? Mm-hmm. Like, if Ryan Dunn is in that conversation, that's going to be a really big help for him. And if he can play defense, then he'll actually stay in the rotation this year.
For sure. Absolutely with those guys. And before we go to a break, question from Buddha. My question is, if Gil is Unk, would that mean I'm Big Unk?
You are Big Unk.
I mean, we could just both be Unk. How about that?
Unk is a universal term. To some, I am Unk.
That is true, and that is terrifying. But what's not terrifying is the fact
that Ayrton, I'm Unk.
That's fair. And what's not terrifying, though, is that we have a couple more of your questions that we're going to answer, but we're going to do it after our final break. In life, starting something new is exciting, but if we're going to be honest here, it can also be pretty intimidating, pretty scary. Moving across the country to join a podcast is exciting, but also intimidating, but it works out. And listen, it helps to have the right tools behind you. Every successful business has the right tools behind them, and that is where Shopify comes in for you. Shopify is the e-commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the United States. It's where you go to start your business, and everything you need to sell is already there. Not from day 2, but from day 1. They have built-in AI tools to help create product descriptions, write page headlines, and even enhance your product photos. And when it's time to find customers, Shopify makes it simple to run email and social campaigns without needing a full marketing team behind you. At PHNX, we use Shopify for our PHNX locker, so get our gear that way as well. All you need is the idea. Shopify will handle the rest. And if you're serious about hearing your first cha-ching, start your free trial at shopify.com/allcity today. Yes, you heard me correctly. Start your free trial today at shopify.com/allcity. And one more time for good measure, start your free trial today at shopify.com/allcity. Cha-ching.
Look, this summer it's been all about soccer. Michelob Ultra is a proud sponsor of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Now, of course, unfortunately, the U.S. men's national soccer team is no longer in action, but the entire country was locked in and going crazy for them the same way that we're going to continue to be locked in on the rest of the World Cup. Michelob Ultra is brewed right here in America. And that same grit that got U.S. soccer players to the group of 16, well, that's brewed right here too. Michelob Ultra is the beer to match the moment. Tomorrow, the Freckled Mamba will be kicking back, watching Morocco, watching France, and I bet the Freckled Mamba might be sipping on a Michelob Ultra while enjoying that match, whether you're back to a bar, watching at a party, or yelling at your TV at home. For every match, every goal, and every play on the world's biggest stage, well, crack open something superior, like the Freckled Mamba. Michelob Ultra, official beer sponsor of the FIFA World Cup 26. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2026 Anheuser-Busch. Michelob Ultra Light Beer out of St. Louis, Missouri.
Back here at the PHNX Suns show, if you see what I did there. Hopefully,
if you get it, you get it.
If you don't, you get it. Hopefully you don't slip up like I did just now on that ad read. But as we continue to read your questions properly and not incorrectly, we're back with another one from Aiden, who asks something that we've been thinking about for a while. Who is the third option after Devin Booker and Jalen Green? Is it Miles Bridges or Dillon Brooks, and why?
I've got some news for you, Aiden. Jalen Green's the third option.
Oh, okay.
Dillon Brooks is the second option until Jalen Green goes and takes it from him. We're now far enough removed from Dillon Brooks' 2025-2026 season that I kind of think that we're forgetting that
he's getting settled in here.
He was that fucking dude, man.
Especially in the playoffs.
He was that dude.
You know how he was going at Chet? He was like,
Bro,
he saw Chet and saw food.
Like, I understand that it's Dillon Brooks, and so people are going to maybe, like, be a little out on him, but, dude, he was really good. He was one of the most efficient isolation scorers in the game, one of the most efficient post-up scorers in the game. He carried this team. We were having conversations when him and Devin Booker were both healthy about who was the alpha and who was the best player on the team for this season. That's how good Dillon Brooks was.
That was before I got here.
So until Jalen Green plays consistently enough to be called the second option, he is not the second option. Even when they played together, Dillon Brooks played better. Dillon Brooks is the second option on this team until somebody comes and snatches that chain. Like, point blank, period. And that's what I think Dillon Brooks is going to be acting like, too. Now, Jalen's ceiling is way higher. I think even Miles Bridges' ceiling is way higher than what Dillon Brooks brings. But
you think so?
But neither of them played better than Dillon Brooks last season. Yeah, I think Miles Bridges, at his frame, with his athleticism a little bit younger, yeah, I think his ceiling is higher. But Dillon Brooks is right now the second option. Ideally, he's not the second option, but he's the second option.
Oh, wow. Nathaniel
says I'm high. No, I'm not. And I'm right. Like, I don't know what to tell you guys. We watched them play basketball together last season.
This is fair.
And Dillon was the second option.
Yeah, that's fair. As far as like where the power rankings would end after last season, absolutely correct as far as what he did, the numbers he put forth, especially in that playoff series against Oklahoma City. He was oftentimes the only thing going well for that offense. But I partly think that was by design. Oklahoma City was like, we're cool if you beat us.
Sure.
Go do you. And credit to Dillon, who we love here and we love watching play. He went and did it, and he talked his talk. And like, I give him so much credit that game 2, I believe, when the Suns fell down like 30. Dillon scored and was still beating his chest, and they made it interesting. They cut it to 13, 11 in that game, and it's because of Dillon Brooks, and he has that attitude. He's relentless, and he's going to continue to be that. Now, when they convene for training camp in a couple months, I think that if there were a tally of who's going to be 1 and 2, it's going to be Book and Jalen Green, ideally. And I think that that's what gives you the best ceiling and the best opportunity to be a successful team in the Western Conference this upcoming season. And after that, it's going to be Dillon Brooks as 3, and then it's Miles Bridges as 4, because he has no familiarity with the system. He's going to get in where he fits in, and that should benefit him because he was the 4th option last year in Charlotte as well. And though his numbers went down a little bit, he still found ways to get in where he fits in. And also, we just saw Dillon Brooks have a career year and a similar juncture in his career. Who's to say that couldn't happen for other guys who are new to this roster?
The good news is you have 3 players who probably think that they're the second option. The bad news is you got 3 players who probably think that they're the second option, and it can totally work, but those 3 players, the best passer out of them is Miles Bridges, which, again, is not the most encouraging thing in the world. I'm not saying that Dillon Brooks is the second best option is going to go win you a championship. I'm just saying until proven otherwise, he is currently the second option on this team. Now, Aiden says, I thought that the Suns would maybe deploy him a little bit more defensively and he would take less shots considering that Jalen would be fully healthy and Miles would be fully healthy. And I get that, but when Jalen was healthy, Dillon didn't take less shots. Like, we might have to just come to the realization that who Dillon Brooks was last season is who he is going to be this season. That's not a bad thing, but that means that he's going to be a little bit worse on defense than he's been in his entire career. That doesn't mean he's bad on defense. And he's going to be a lot better on offense. Now, should it be Jalen? Probably. Will it be? I wouldn't be shocked. Could it be Miles Bridges? You traded an unprotected first-round pick from him. Maybe some nights it is. And maybe you're going into the season saying, look, we have our 1A in Devin Booker, and then anybody else can go win us
any given night.
Colin might be the second best guy one night, right? Maybe it's Dillon, maybe it's Miles, maybe it's Jalen, right? Maybe Luke Kennard has a hot night. They're going with depth over being top-heavy, so you don't have a clear pecking order. That could be a really bad thing. But it can also be a really good thing. On any given night, any given matchup, you also have 3 very streaky players who are your supposed number 2 options. Like, Dillon is streaky at times. Jalen's extremely streaky. Miles is. So, hey, Miles, you're having a bad game. Maybe it's Jalen's night.
And consistency will help with that. I think the streakiness has something to do with the fact that nothing was ever the same any given night for this team last year. True. And the availability part of it. I think it was Boom just now that said something. I'm going to say something crazy in response to that. I think he said DeMar DeRozan for point guard. I know that was said
it's a joke. It's
in jest. But This is just a random question before I go into our next couple questions. Would you rather have Russell Westbrook as a free agent or Dejounte Murray via trade?
And I'm giving up Jalen via trade?
No. Yeah, giving up Jalen via trade.
Then I'd rather have Westbrook as a free agent.
I mean, you think would you trust him to be a point guard? He's a floor general.
Well, is there a third option that's just a no option?
That you go out there and play point guard?
That's a big no option. I mean, I'm forced to do one of the two.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's kind of a messed up question.
That is pretty crazy.
That's a weird question.
He's a point guard.
Yeah, but that's a weird question. Would you rather
numbers.
sign Russell Westbrook as a free agent, which means like you're cutting Bouye or Highsmith, or would you rather trade for Dejounte? Obviously,
he's a point
Dejounte
guard.
Murray's a better player, but like Russell's not going to play. Like, I don't know, man.
I wouldn't. He's a pure point guard. Some might say one of the purest to ever play.
That's a weird. What's going on in your mind?
I mean, I saw the name DeMar DeRozan. He was on the
and
stage.
then Russell Westbrook, and then you decided to bring Dejounte Murray.
They went to the pop-out together. They were on the Kings together last year.
Russell Westbrook was on the Kings last year.
See, it wasn't that crazy that I said that. That was why I said it.
Bro, I bet if you asked 50% of chat had no idea that Russell Westbrook was on the Kings.
That's what made me think about that.
Dude, how many teams has he played for now?
A lot.
God, it has been a lot.
A lot. Anyway.
He's like modern Shaq.
I mean, yeah, MVP and all of that
That's
stuff.
what I'm saying. Like,
people,
super high.
It is funny because like young people who watch him play are probably not going to realize how good he once was. Anyway,
Westbrook was stat padding like crazy for them last year.
That was not just random. Kyle Lowry just officially retired yesterday. Hello, so that's not happening.
Hell, throw him into the conversation. Or would you rather bring Kyle Lowry out of retirement?
Retired.
Would you rather sign Kyle Lowry out of retirement or trade Jalen Green for Dejounte Murray?
He's retired. All about that bass, no trouble. Anyway, as Tim asks.
Chicken butt.
Yeah, a lot of it. As Tim asks, it just kind of goes into what we talk about with these lineups. Big concern that people have. What about spacing on this team? I don't know what we're going to do if our starters are all shooting 33% from three. That may have to be a tough conversation to start Gillespie and have Jalen Green come off the bench, or I don't know. It's a tough thought.
It is certainly something to keep your eyes on. When they're hitting, though, they can certainly hit. So if Jalen and Book and Dillon and Miles are hitting on one night, good luck stopping them. But they can go cold. Now, The argument is that you're going to be inserting Miles Bridges into the starting lineup. You're going to be bringing a little bit more pressure into the paint, a little bit more of an offensive option for Bridges, which will then open up better shot quality for a Dillon Brooks, for a Jalen Green, for a Devin Booker. You talk about the consistency with Jalen Green and the fact that, he was surrounded by a bunch of different players. Well, part of that is that the best players were off the floor. So if your best players are on the floor, you have more gravity, maybe not as much ball movement, but probably better shot quality for catch and shoots. So that is your hope, that you can create better quality looks for all these guys that shoot around 33% from three. But the reality situation is, like, your two best shooters are coming off of the bench in Luke Kennard and in Colin Gillespie. So you might have to just do a really early sub. If all four are available, all four are starting. I don't see Jalen going to the bench. No. But I could see Jalen coming out like 4 or 5 minutes into the game. Colin comes in, and then once it's a full bench lineup, Jalen checks in early, and that's kind of his time to cook. Or with Dillon, or with Book's not going to come out early, or like maybe Miles comes out if Rasheer earns those minutes. So it is certainly a concern. That is, like, I know Steven's not worried about it. I am a little worried about it because one of these guys is going to have to make a leap, and I don't know who's going to do it.
One of the things that I think about is, had this team been healthy last year, we'd have been having the same conversation. So it's not something that has not been thought about or considered, because had this team been healthy, Royce O'Neal's probably coming off the bench from the beginning, and that was how the way things were supposed to be from the jump. It was supposed to be that lineup that we saw hints of at points in times. And I know Royce shot 40% from the field, from three, and that's extremely hard to replace. But he was a very streaky guy. We've talked about this before. So if these guys, if you can just get one of those guys to be on any given night, and you have a trio of guys and just one of those three guys be on, that gives you more spacing. Now, I know the threat of it is something else that's a big concern and focus. But to your point, if one of those three guys is on and then one of the two isn't, you can bring in Colin Gillespie off the bench and try to figure things out as far as that goes. And honestly, I am concerned about starting the game with spacing, but my bigger concern is, remember how the offense used to stagnate in the fourth quarter because everybody stood around, there was no spacing? Can you find a closing lineup or a clutch time lineup or a fourth quarter lineup that has the spacing, enough spacing to where things do not stagnate?
You do have some shooters. Now, Gil, do you know where the Suns were in three-pointers attempted per game last regular season among the league?
11th.
They were fourth.
I was going to say 7th at first. I should have gone on my gut.
So they shot 37.5 three-pointers per game.
I knew that. That's
Cleveland
crazy. That's
shot
dumb.
38.1. Portland shot 38.4. Do you know how many three-pointers the Celtics took per
Was
game?
it like 45, 48?
46.1. They had
Mazzulla ball.
They took 8 more threes than second place. Here's the problem. You lost your chucker in Grayson Allen. You lost your chucker in Royce O'Neal. If your identity under Jordan Ott is going to take, 37, 38 three-pointers per game, because it keeps on going up at the top of the league, it seems like it's a part of his offense. You're going to just let guys shoot. You need to have guys who are going to hit those shots. And then if they are not good three-point shooters and you're still telling them to take that many, well, then you're taking bad shots. So Miles is I think 36% on catch and shoot threes, 33% overall on threes. So just eliminate the pull-ups, which he's not good at. He likes to take them, but he's not good at. Same thing with Dillon and Jalen. If you've got it going, yeah, that's fine. But I love Dillon, and I just talked a lot about Dillon, but he takes some bullshit shots, man. He makes them, though. Some of them. He makes them. Some of them. And you remember the makes, but there's also a ton of misses as well. And so he needs to understand that there are better shots out there than these crazy sidestep threes. Now, he's still going to take them every once in a while, but it just can't be all the time. So, I'm worried about it, but I trust Jordan Ott. The three-point shooting, if you go by percentage, the Suns were 7th in three-point percentage last year at 34% as a team. That's not that high, right? 34% as a team is not crazy, crazy high. So can they replicate that? I think they can shoot 34% from three.
The volume is going to go down.
The volume
barring
will go
anything
down,
crazy, the volume is going to go down. But that is not the worst thing in the world if there are answers for it, because it's going to be more rim pressure. And that's the part of it that we didn't really talk about with this, and it's probably what Steven would say if he were here, would be that the rim pressure that's going to be created that you should have from having Jalen Green from day one, having Miles Bridges from day one, should cause teams to adjust defensively a little bit, and you get more quality looks from beyond the arc. You hope that there's kind of the push and pull there. Obviously, it's kind of a chicken or the egg. Do you get more spacing because of the rim pressure? Do you get more rim pressure because of the spacing? And it depends on the philosophy and how the team goes about doing it. But I'm not completely concerned, while acknowledging that it is something that is concerning or has the potential to be concerning, but I do want to see how they go about combating an issue that most people are probably going into this year recognizing could be an issue.
We've got Gil's Trap in here, who has 2.45 million subscribers. So big shout out to you.
Big shout.
Let us know what you think about this.
Shout out to the Gills.
Shout out to we got multiple Gills. Way too many Gills in the PHNX Suns community now.
Spell it the right way too. Just one L.
That's right. Yeah, just one L. Look, with the flaws of this team, they were flawed before. Okay, they had flaws.
Yes.
Size, defensive rebounding. These are things that were legitimate problems for them. So when you are making changes to your team, you are making changes to your roster, you are making moves and trying to address some problems, it is hard to just eliminate all your problems. Every team's going to have a weakness. Every team's going to have a strength. At the end of the day, how do you minimize the weaknesses and how do you maximize your strengths? The Suns are probably going to be moving away from one of their strengths last year, which is high volume of three-pointers attempted, with Grayson Allen coming in off the bench and averaging 10. Royce O'Neal coming in and starting or coming off the bench and averaging 10 a game. These are guys that were massive chuckers. They averaged 16 three-pointers attempted combined. So you're still going to have individual players that do that. Gillespie's going to chuck. Hopefully Kennard is going to chuck a little bit more. That's another part of this three-point volume that we need to talk about. Dillon, Book, Jalen, and Miles are all going to take threes. Maybe we see finally the Devin Booker shoots better from 3 year, although who knows if that's going to happen. So maybe Rashir's the guy who's going to be taking a lot more threes. He steps in for Royce O'Neal and he shoots like he did post All-Star break.
Kev's wild.
So that is nuts. But this team is going to have this team's gonna have flaws.
It
just is what it is.
It was funny because I see there was some feedback to me saying that Dillon Brooks does make them. You're right. There's some shots where we're like, yo, what the hell are you doing right now? It happens a lot. Yeah, Mr. Shad. And the efficiency is all over the place. But I don't know if you guys saw Stat Defender tweeted out the best fourth quarter field goal percentage in 2025-26 NBA playoffs, minimum of 20 field goals attempted. Who sat alone at the top?
Dillon Brooks.
Dillon Brooks.
Now,
66.7%.
4 games.
4 games.
But still.
20 attempts.
Yeah, but still. No, for real. Like,
that's over 5 attempts per game.
Dillon's really good. Like, Dillon's a really good basketball player.
He puts the work in and he makes a lot of shots.
Contract value. Yeah. Like, you want him to still be himself and to take these crazy shots, but also not go too far when you also have other guys who are going to be taking all these shots too, and you add Miles Bridges, who's going to be taking more shots than whoever your fourth starter was last time, unless it was Grayson Allen. But Jordan Goodwin is somebody who took a lot of threes that's going to have to take a lot of threes and hit them at a continually high percentage. Gil says, other Gil says, been watching for a long time, just don't comment. I appreciate your guys' commentary. Well, we appreciate you, man. Thanks for being here.
Appreciate you being here, for sure.
I worry about some things with this team, but I also have this ultimate kind of like trump card in my head of, well, Jordan Ott will figure it out.
Of course.
Because I do think Jordan Ott will figure it out and find a way to maximize it. Last year, the Suns were at a bigger talent deficit than I think they are this year, adding Miles Bridges. And how do you make up for a talent deficit? Look at Boston without Jason Tatum, having all these other role players. What do? Well, they average 46 three-pointers attempted per game. That's the great equalizer. So if your talent goes up, your ability to score outside of the three-pointer, you maybe need a little bit of less variance. You maybe don't need to be top 5 in three-pointers attempted.
No, absolutely not. It's a talent-based league, and on top of adding more talent in Miles Bridges, we continue to talk about it and use the term internal development, and that is the big wild card. We've talked about these guys, and there's a group of guys that could make a leap, and it's 4 or 5 guys. If 2 or 3 of those guys make a leap, you are also a more talented team than you were last year because you're betting on those young guys getting better. So there's a lot to be encouraged by, a lot to be excited about. It's not just going to happen if you're complacent about it, but there is a system in place and there's something to look forward to and not just grasp at anything to be hopeful about. There are multiple ways that this team has attempted to get better. There's multiple ways that they've gotten better, and there are multiple ways that they could get better. Now, as we wrap up here, we have to end on a fun one, right?
Yes.
And this is from Sean, who, after yesterday,
who just said you got demoted, by the way.
That's fine. That's cool.
You're now Gil 2.
Actually, Gil 3. Shout out to Big Gil, who's probably watching this back home in Charlotte.
So Gil's trap is Gil 2, and you're Gil 3.
Gil 3, that's fine. That's fine. That's okay. I'm a team player.
Bulletin board material.
I'm okay with being a third option. That means that the third best defender's guarding me now.
Hey,
I'm cooking.
Dillon Brooks, Miles Bridges, Jalen Green, take notes.
Take
notes.
There you go.
Take notes.
Shout out to all y'all. But Sean, who probably was inspired by yesterday's press conference announcing their re-signing, says a remake of Eminem's Without Me music video with Colin as Eminem and Goody as Dr. Dre to celebrate their extensions. What do we have to do to get this in motion? Mark Williams should be involved as well, but Colin and Goody are the focal points.
What do we have to do? Brother, pray. Like, I don't know if there's much we can do on that front.
Best we got for y'all is you as Eminem and me as Dr. Dre.
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
You
think so?
This looks like a job for you. Everybody just
There's
follow.
a second. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, you can.
It would feel empty without
check
you.
out.
So.
Oh, jeez, man.
But yeah.
Just trying not to lose myself in the moment.
The real Eric Ruby, please stand up.
Wait, where's the fake Eric Ruby?
No, yeah, we do.
Where's the fake one?
It was a long con the whole time. You wanted to set that up the whole time.
Well,
see,
maybe,
look, Buddha's gonna put the work in.
Who says, I'll see what I can do. Put in the call. Sean says Eric in a Colin Gillespie jersey, Gil in a Goody jersey is absolutely acceptable. Maybe Gil will just have to listen to Without Me on a road trip.
You got any
on a road trip?
Where can we go?
I mean, I've heard Vegas is nice this time of year.
I hear it's just as hot as it is here, but there's also something going on out there.
Something's going on in Vegas?
Some hoops.
Hoops?
Like an AAU tournament?
They're adding the Las Vegas Jacks, right? Isn't that a thing? Jerry Colangelo is gonna.
Don't get me started on that.
Gonna step in and
the Merc
do
play the
that?
Aces in Vegas on Saturday.
Oh, okay.
But I think the Suns played before that.
The Suns?
They play.
But it's July.
Summer League action. Friday?
There's a summer league?
Friday.
This
is terrible, by the way.
They play basketball in the summer?
This is terrible.
This is the worst way to tell people that we're going to
Summer League.
Yay! Woo!
We're headed out. We're headed out to Vegas. Not Montana this time. We're gonna go out to Las Vegas.
Road trip, go to Montana. Yo, could you imagine? It's like we're going to Summer League. Actually, no, we're going to Montana. PHNX Suns live from Montana.
But we will be out in Vegas.
Us and Brett Favre chopping it up over stealing government funds.
Goodness gracious, not doing that.
Just kidding. That we don't do that. Only he does.
Only doing he does that. But we will be out there. We got some questions if we were going to be out there. We are going to be out there for the Suns Summer League debut. They got the nightcap on Friday. So
prime time.
Prime
Not
time.
really, but
when
kinda.
all eyes are going to be on them. Cole Pete, first time you'll see him in a Suns uniform Friday night. We will be there. Boots on the ground with a lot to cover. I'm excited about my first time ever going to Summer League, so I'm excited.
I was there for a day. I was, the Grandpa Simpson meme where he walks in and then he walks out. That was me in Summer League last
put
year.
it back on and walk back out.
So I'm pretty excited for that. So yeah, we'll be there. We'll be there all day Friday. Obviously, stay tuned at PHNX_Suns on Twitter, our YouTube channel. The best part about Summer League is you just get to talk to everybody. So we'll talk to as many people as possible. Last year, Kenny Atkinson, Shams Charania talked to us. Charles Lee stood me up. I might try to get my lick back. I might try to interview Charles Lee this year, so let's stay tuned for that.
It's going to be an annual thing because, I don't think the Suns and Hornets just continue to make trades.
Dude, that's what
you
I'm saying.
You can see have guys ask him about.
Yeah, there's a reason. Hey, man, I'd like to talk to you about Miles Bridges. Yeah, go talk to that person over there. They'll talk to that person over there, and that person over there.
You should just be like, hey, I talked to the person over there, and they said
I talked to PR, and they said that you would actually love to talk to me.
Yeah.
Remember me? Charles.
Yeah.
But we'll be there for Friday. So we are trying to figure out our schedule as far as shows go. So there might not be a show on Friday because the game is at 8 p.m. So the post-game show, considering getting back to everything, would be at 1 in the morning. So there might be a show Saturday morning recapping game 1, looking ahead to game 2. We will be doing a post-game show right after the second game on Sunday. And then we'll be back here in studio on Monday. We'll be doing a watch-along and a post-game show for the Bucks Suns.
The Cole Pete Braden Burry showdown.
The U of A showdown. So we're going to be having tons of fun. It'll be me, Gil, and Mr. Deef because the rest of the crew has some other things they need to be taking care
better
of.
things to do than
hanging out with us in Vegas.
They heard I was driving up there and were like, nah.
They said
no chance, not dealing with that. But yeah, super stoked, super excited. So as Eric had said, keep it locked in with us because we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of good content coming your way throughout our time out in Las Vegas this weekend.
Spike says, Vegas is the city that never sleeps. I'm about to say, hello, isn't that New York City? I mean, look, there's not a lot of sleeping that goes on in Vegas, but look, our audience is here, and we want to make sure that everybody is nice and awake and here to watch live in the moment. And I said, unless it's the greatest Summer League game we've ever seen.
That's
so
true.
We'll try to go
Cole
live.
Pete 50 ball.
Yeah, we'll give you instant reactions the day of on your audio, on your video feed that night. Obviously, on our Twitter, we'll record everything, post stuff. It'll be a good time. So make sure you're following all of us and especially subscribe to PHNX Sports. Lots of good coverage coming your way.
That's what I was going to say. What happens in Vegas can be found on PHNX Sports. So lock in with us. Follow us at PHNX_Suns. I don't know what you're laughing at. Is it me or something else?
No, because hello said Eric is hyped like the 80s. Trust me, brother. I don't think I could handle that. My natural state is coked out. I'm naturally coked out, brother. I don't drink caffeine. I don't need any of that. I can't even imagine what would happen if that entered my bloodstream. Seriously, could you imagine?
I'd be scared.
I'd be scared. I think we'd all be scared.
Yeah, so
I'm not like the 80 Suns.
No, not at all. Not at all. We are just all pure.
At one point in my life, I was more like the 2023-24 Phoenix Suns.
All right. Well, there you go. But not anymore. And somebody thought that was today.
Yeah, somebody thought today, yeah.
Not today. But regardless, we're stoked. If you can't tell right now, we're super excited. We're looking forward to it. So keep it locked in with us. We'll be here same time, same place tomorrow. But then as the weekend gets underway, you will have a lot of Summer League content to consume. Until then, though, follow us at PHNX_Suns. Follow, you got something else to say?
I was saying, I was pointing at you when you're saying follow us.
Oh, yeah, follow Freckle Mamba at Freckle Mamba. You can follow me at Gil McGregor _, and you can follow Eric at ERIKRUBY. Appreciate you hanging out with us here today. And on the way out, might as well like and subscribe if you have not already. And catch us back here, same time, same place, tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.